Hello. I started long-term semen retention at the beginning of 2018. My last relapse was in February 2022. As of writing this, I am on a 1,051-day streak. Since starting retention, I left a relationship, found a new partner, got married, left a job, had success in my music, started new hobbies, and have basically improved my life in the largest increments since becoming an adult. Observations. Number 1. I have more energy, need less sleep, and can concentrate for longer periods of time on a single task. Number 2. I also have a lot more aggression or feelings of manliness inside, which has made me very proactive, breaking up with a partner, finding a new one, getting married, quitting my job. I feel like I grew a set of balls that I didn't have before retention. I feel more courage, aggression, strong-willed, and confidence that I previously didn't feel. My face looks better. If I look back at a couple of videos I took in 2018 and compare them to now, I can see my face seems to look younger. I had a worn-out cheek area and a darker skin complexion under my eyes. I looked very tired. I was very tired. Now my face has filled in a bit and feels more youthful. On looking through old photos, my partner even agrees I look healthier in the face than before. Number 4. My eyes are sharper. Another feature I've noticed from my old photos is that my eyes feel particularly stronger. I also feel it when interacting with others. I can look in their face for longer periods. I don't feel awkward as I did when communicating after releasing. I believe a lot of this comes down to my eyes. They have power or strength to them that wasn't there before. This is hard to verbalize, but I imagine others who have retained may know this feeling very well. Number 5. Some friendships and relationships ended on my own accord. I walked away from some friendships and relationships after a good stretch of time retaining. This perhaps goes back to my more aggressive and proactive behavior that came during retention. As a result of breaking up with my partner, I met a new partner who eventually became my wife. I wonder if this would have happened had I not started semen retention. For years after releasing, I never had the courage to walk away from a partner. I found that courage shortly after commencing semen retention. I came to understand that the age-old connection between the balls and courage is not only allegorical, it's physiological. Number 6. I also left some friends as I felt we had drifted apart, and I don't regret it at all. I feel it helped me start a new chapter in my life. Number 7. A lot more mental activity. I became very active in thought and started to map out plans for new things I would try and new skills I would learn. In 2018, shortly after starting retention, I decided to start reading again. I built a collection of many books on topics of interest and read many of them. It opened my mind to new ideas and topics. I found a lot of stimulation, and it helped me start this YouTube channel, among other projects, which would have never occurred had I not started retaining in the first place. Number 8. My teeth improved. I'm not sure how to prove this point, though my last 7 years of no cavities, after a long stretch of cavities and root canals, is enough evidence for me to believe it. I've had no teeth issues since starting. My teeth feel great, and the few times I visited the dentist, there were no issues. Before that, I often had fillings, root canals, and other issues with my teeth. In these 7 years, my teeth have felt great. My hypothesis is that the retention of nutrition means more nutrition for my teeth. There's no evidence to prove or disprove this, but I feel it to be related to starting SR. Number 9. Music success. I had some major breakthroughs in my music. I've been making music for 19 years and had never had much success, but soon after retaining, my song got placed into a commercial with a world-famous K-pop star. I also had a song released by one of the top DJs in the world. What led up to these events was a lot of extra work I put into my music and marketing from the excess energy and time I had at my disposal after quitting masturbation. It upped my productivity significantly, and the results started to show. To me, this was a major sign that things were going in the right direction. Number 10. Retaining gave me the initiative to make things happen. I went out and bought a mic and started this YouTube channel. I didn't know anything about video, only audio. If you see my very first video, it was just a black screen with a circle on it. But with each new video, I learned more and more about editing, recording, photo editing, and other skills. I never had much motivation to branch out into new areas before retaining. I was only focusing on music, which was stagnating. I immersed myself in reading, and with each new thing I learned, I wrote about it and applied my own experiences. 2 years of this, and I had a book full of information which I ended up releasing. All this concentrated effort put into that book came from retaining. Number 11. My relationships became a lot better. I worked with multiple clients every day, and during retention, I noticed I had more energy to put into our interactions. I think this benefited those relationships. I had a few clients grow very fond of me during this time, and I feel it was because I too was becoming a better person. When not retaining, I think lustful thoughts linger in the back of the mind and cause some distraction or general unease that is felt by others in conversation. Also, I think the fact that releasing leaves you more drained has a negative effect on interactions. The difference in interactions after retaining was very noticeable. Number 12. I was being approached more. When I went out, I came across more people. I remember being stopped twice in 20 minutes in the city by people asking questions. I remember an older woman talking to me at the train station with no real reason, and other such instances that never seemed to happen before. Perhaps I appeared more approachable. Number 13. I also noticed more eye contact from the opposite sex. This is something I am always very aware of, particularly on the bus or train when another woman is around. I felt eyes on me a lot more, and I had the feeling to look back too. I believe retaining took away the fear of looking at strangers. It was almost like a shame or guilt was lifted. I also had more luck with dating and found a new partner not long after breaking up with my old one. I should mention I also experienced stronger aggression from some colleagues I didn't get along with. It seemed like those bad relations became amplified on retention. Number 14. I started my streak unmarried, living alone, and after 1,000 days I'm married and living with my partner. How much of it was just natural life progression and how much was semen retention is hard to say. But my 20 years of dating before semen retention never resulted in marriage. So for things to happen so soon after starting, it makes me feel semen retention had a role to play in it. To go into a bit more detail, in 2018 I was living alone and had a girlfriend that I wasn't particularly satisfied with. This was in large part due to her behavior with other males. Sometime into starting semen retention, I decided I'd had enough. I became more assertive. I broke up with her. She cried a bit, and that was it. I never saw her again. I'm sure that initiative came from retaining. It gave me a feeling of aggression, which I hadn't really felt before. It pushed me to make changes in my life, such as this one. And although I didn't have any idea of what would happen next, I felt I was heading in the right direction. Number 15. My skin improved. I had always had seasonal eczema since my teens. It would go away for a while and then come back with red skin on my cheeks and forehead. I'm not sure if it is a direct result of SR, but since starting, my red skin has gone down considerably. I also quit eating out so much while on semen retention and cooked my own meals. So this could be part of it. I stopped eating bread too, and I think that plays a role. But again, I feel these changes I made to my lifestyle came about from the energy and motivation gained from abstaining and conserving sexual energy. Number 16. I've had so much good fortune and luck since starting retention. Finding the right partner, moving house, the music opportunities, somehow coming across enough finances to quit my job and work independently. Amazing things started happening for me when I got rid of masturbation. I don't pretend to know everything about reality, but I do know something altered in my life trajectory when retaining. I feel that I wasn't wasting nature's efforts, and in some way nature puts me on a better path. Something really magical happened in my life as a result of retaining, and I've heard similar things happen to others. Number 17. Stress and anxiety have lifted. Life felt a lot heavier when releasing often. I feel that perhaps after every release there was a sort of cloud of tiredness or heaviness over me for about a day or two, in which my attention drifted in and out. I noticed this particularly in conversations at work, as I had to be careful not to appear too out of it in front of my superiors. I experienced a kind of absent-mindedness or lack of focus. I think this also sucked the energy out of many interactions I was having at the time with clients. I didn't pay much mind to this feeling over the years, but suspect I was growing unconsciously aware of it on some level, as when I started reading about semen retention, something in my mind just clicked, as if my suspicions were right. Not that I outwardly suspected masturbation or sex to be the cause, at least not at that time. Number 18. I became more adventurous. I got the feeling to go on an adventure, to get out, move my body and explore new places. I started hiking more often. I even went on a solo hiking trip, which was a bit scary but exciting. It pushed me out of my comfort zone and it felt exhilarating, a feeling I hadn't felt in years. I took about 3 or 4 solo trips, stayed in mountains and beach houses. Something inside of me wanted to get out and explore. I felt more like a kid again than I had in decades. This all coincided with starting semen retention, and my guess is that a hormonal shift is what changed my mindset in that way. When I was a child, I wasn't constantly occupied by thoughts of lust, and for the first time in decades, I returned to this state. Number 19. My breathing issues stopped at around this time. In winter, I would often get short of breath. It was particularly exacerbated by drinking coffee on a cold day, and it would often be accompanied by eczema or scaly skin, as previously mentioned. I haven't had it since starting semen retention in 2018. It was never life-threatening or anything, just something that had started in my teens or 20s and carried on over many winters. Perhaps I just grew out of it, or perhaps retaining my energies helped my physical condition. I can't verify either one with any certainty, though considering my skin and breathing issues cleared up since the time I started retaining, I imagine there is some relation there. I'll try not to speak too strongly on this point as it's only my feeling. I don't have evidence to back up this point, other than anecdotal experience. Number 20. Intuition. I feel more attuned to the thoughts of others. I've always had some sense of how others felt about me when interacting, but these feelings became quite strong on semen retention. As I mentioned, I felt more aggressive to take action on impulses. I got strong feelings about others and positions I was in without real logical explanation. It caused me to leave a relationship, leave a job, scale down my friendships to just the good ones. I even quit music after 19 years, which for some strange reason feels like the best decision I've made. Starting this channel was also on a whim. A lot of my reasoning faculties were overridden by an intuitive feeling I had, which when followed only led to better outcomes. Of course, this is another somewhat abstract benefit as I can't verify it empirically, but I feel a lot of this big shift in my life took place at exactly the time I started retaining. 21. The high I got from feeling the benefits of semen retention also led me to quit other things that were negatively affecting my life. I quit eating bread, which may also have helped my skin issues. I quit drinking coffee. I quit eating out, or at least limited it down to twice a month rather than 4 times a week, which I used to do. Getting on SR was a starting point for a lot more good decisions that I made in my life. Once you get into a good streak on retention, you start to feel like a new being, a cleaner person. A weight is lifted. There is no more guilt or impurity from lustful thoughts. Living feels more clean, and I feel more comfortable with who I am. I accept some of this may be just aging, but the great experiences I had since retaining led me to believe much of it is intrinsically connected.